Middle and Preschool. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to talk to you a little bit about how we introduce
art supplies.
Art supplies! If you joined us for our classroom tour a couple of weeks ago, we showed you that we start off bare bones. There's paper and crayons at the beginning because we feel like they can't really mess that up too much.
Yeah.
And then as the year starts, each day we try to introduce a supply.
Yeah.
So the first day, was it the first day? No, we just did crayons the first day.
We did crayons.
Yeah, the first week though we introduced glue sticks, and we showed a video a while ago about how we do that project where the only goal is for them to glue pieces down. This week we're tackling
Three things.
because our kids are returning. You guys. So we feel like we can roll with this. So we are teaching them how to use
Watercolors,
markers,
and dreaded
glue. And because those are three different things, we like to keep the project that they're doing constant. So what you'll notice when we demonstrate the three that we've done with our kids this week is that they're kind of doing the same project every day this week for 3 days.
in a different way.
But in a different way with a different supply, because we feel like, especially at the beginning of the year, if we change everything, they're going to be thrown off. So we keep the project constant and then change
Because the end result is not the project. The end result is being able to use the materials. So we don't. It's not about the finished product.
although it does look cute.
I mean, it does, but that's not the goal.
So I'm going to demonstrate watercolors for you, and then Gemma's going to demonstrate glue, and then I'll demonstrate markers. How does
And
that
then
sound?
you can, Jamie will tell you the parts that she makes fun of me about the glue. What I call it.
Oh.
I don't need to know if it's an English thing or just
It's
a
definitely an
me.
English thing. Hi, you did the Picasso project. It's cute, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so the very first time we introduce watercolors, I do it during our morning meeting, and I bring a set of watercolors to the table. Not to the table, to the carpet. Sorry, is the week over yet?
No.
It's Tuesday. And I let the kids touch them and see that the watercolors are dry. And I even demonstrate for them what happens if I take a dry brush and try to paint with the watercolors, how it doesn't work. We talk about how these paints are special, how they only work if you get them wet. So I think, how are we gonna be able to do this? I don't know where she went, she left. Oh, it's okay. No, this is okay, I'm not gonna really paint. Yeah. So we give them a printout with their name on it, written in bubble letters. I will make this free. You can just download it and type your own kids' names in it. I didn't have a chance to do it before we went live, but if you come back in like a half an hour, I'll have it up for you. There in a link in the video description. And we just show them, and I demonstrate on my own name, how you have to get brush wet.
Jamie's one's hanging up on a hook.
It looks really good too. I did a great job with that.
Finish it.
And then you have to get the paint all swirled around and get it really wet. And I let the kids look about to see how the paint is actually on the brush. And I know this sounds so, what's the word?
Straightforward.
So straightforward, right? But with 3 and 4-year-olds, if you do not show them this, they will get very frustrated that they can't paint. And so all they do, we just show it and we show how they paint. I won't really do these. We just show them how to paint. And then we have to teach them, I want to change to yellow. I can't put this green paint in the yellow. What am I going to do? Wash off my brush.
There are multiple steps to this, and that's hard.
Pat it dry. This is a hard process. And so wake up the colors when you add the water. I like that, Janet. And so we model for them at circle time down on the carpet how to use the watercolor paints. And then we set up at our art area, our little daily art area, all of their blank names. And they can go over there and just practice using the watercolors. So the only point of this activity is learning to use the watercolors. There are no givens.
They love when the water changes color too.
That's true. And then we teach them, go dump this in the sink, throw your paper towel in the trash,
So many steps.
close up, you have to put the brush back, close it up. There's a lot of steps that you really have to lay them out for the
Slowly.
kids. Nothing
And
comes
show them.
naturally.
You have to show them. So So when you sit with them with the art, have your name too, because they
Yes.
love seeing you do your name.
So we just model it for them. I do it, show them, then we do it all together, and then they can kind of finish up, and we hang it on the wall. So this is how we introduce watercolors. Now, the next day, they get the same paper sitting out on the table, blank.
I'm going to show you. This is the one that Jamie worked on. Look at her nice coloring.
Rainbow colors, but they're back. Wow. Because the first day I did plain rainbow colors, so today I did backwards rainbow colors.
Jamie likes rainbow
Are we doing
colours.
markers next?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
This is Jamie says she started. Okay, so with the markers, everybody loves markers at school. These ones are the good ones, so they smell good.
it seems like you could just put markers out and tell the kids to color with them. No, don't do that. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to lose all your lids.
They're going to be flung on the floor, they'll be kicked off to the side, your markers will dry up, their friends will be drawn on.
You'll have marker everywhere.
Yes, they'll color each other's
Do not just put
faces.
these out. Don't be like us.
Don't be like
We've
us.
done that
Yeah, we
before.
did that.
Remember that video I told you yesterday about what we were doing in 2005?
I watched that. I was at home and I was like, oh,
Remember that first day we had
first day,
scissors
yeah.
and markers,
Yeah.
paint?
And then we realized that wasn't a good idea.
What?
Okay, so when you give them a marker, it's the same thing. Introduce it during your circle time. Come to the carpet, have some markers. Jamie had her name ready. What color do you want that one?
You can
Don't
choose.
mind? Okay. So you have to teach them how to take the lid off. Some of their tiny hands, they're not strong enough. They're really going to have to pull
This is a
these. They have
process.
to pull it hard. And then
You have
what
to
do you
teach
do?
them.
Oh no, what are you going to do? You explain to them you don't want it rolling away, you don't want it on the floor, 'cause then we have to throw the markers away. So, sounds so straightforward.
This is not a glamorous job.
Tell them to turn it over and stick it onto the top of their heads. They really like doing this.
We love you too. Thanks for joining us. They do think that it's, I don't know, they
Hey,
love
I
it.
know. And then
That
you-
doesn't take much to entertain them.
Okay, so then you have to teach them to put the top on. And I don't know if anybody ever watched Friends, but I totally think of channeling her in a Monica when she puts the pens on. You have to listen to the clip. So, remember that? That's what I think when you
I
teach
know.
us.
Boys and girls, did it click?
Don't be like Monica though. Okay, so she
We're dating ourselves.
we totally are. So Jamie says, or I say, oh no, it's too wiggly. It's not
It's gonna fall off, and I show them what happens if you just stick it
on.
on. Yeah, it's terrible.
So what you have to do, this is the magic. You have to turn it over and make it click. Hey.
And you let the kids practice with a marker,
love
with no paper, just practice
They
taking
really
it
like
on.
the sound. They like the sound of the click.
Seems I think we don't have a very complicated life. Like, we're simple folk. And then they can color, and the whole time the goal is to have them practice using the markers correctly. Practice putting the lid on the back while they're coloring, and practice clicking it on when they're not coloring. If you do not take the time to explicitly teach that, to give them some time to explicitly practice just that skill,
Yep.
then
Without
the first
actually doing the coloring, just lid
Yes.
off, lid on the end. take it
and
off.
some time to color, and they're just working on the markers. You're helping them figure out the lids on the markers. If you do not have a day or a lesson set aside to just teach that skill, then do you know what's going to happen the first time you put markers out?
You won't have any left.
They're done. They're like a one and done kind of
Yeah.
a supply. You have got to take the time, like you do with everything, to teach them explicitly how to use each and every material.
Because when you leave them out, then they have the confidence to go and use them themselves. So if they are confident with the material, then they will go to the writing center, pull them out themselves, and know exactly how to do it.
That's the other thing that we should say is after we have introduced it, sometimes it only takes one lesson. Like we have a very mature pre-K class this year. Returning students, kids with a lot of older siblings, it makes a difference. They're just really, they got it, right? So if we know all of these students can use watercolors, then we just put the watercolors at the creation station, at the art area.
We tell them where they are,
And we
if
put
they
the empty
use
cups
them,
there.
they can use them.
If you have younger kids, or like I expect with our little kids, we're going to practice this together, and they're not going to get it the first time. So then we'll practice. I'm just guessing, but it's only been 2 days with them, and I already kind of feel like it's going to take more than
Maybe
one.
once, maybe twice.
Maybe twice. You bring your magic dust. Everyone will know how to use the watercolor. As soon as you feel confident that your class can use them, then put them out. Put them in your rotation of your art supplies so that they can get them out when they feel like being creative and painting something. And the same thing with the markers.
Forget how to use them or lose the confidence. They need to be able to use them when they're comfortable. You can do them.
Okay. Now here's the thing about the glue. Our kids have very young hands. They're still developing their hand strength. They're still developing their hand-eye coordination. They're still developing their picture grasp. Most preschool students are not physically mature enough to use a bottle of glue. We, with the exception of the very end of the school year, do not ever put out bottles of glue because their hands, it gets clogged, it's frustrating. So there are two options for this. We're going to model one of them and I'll tell you about the other one. The first option is to use glue sponges, which people rave about and works out great for them. And holding it is heavy, and their hands are so little, the glue.
And they can't squeeze them. Sometimes I have trouble squeezing. They are gunked
We just don't ever think that the bottles work for us in preschool, especially in the fall at the beginning of the year. So here's what we do.
It's really simple.
We put glue on a plate with a cotton swab. Or you could use a paintbrush, but we like to use these because we throw them away. And we talk to the kids about how if you're pasting paper, you can use a glue stick. But sometimes things that you want to glue on will not stick with a glue stick, and you have to use white glue.
Or in England, well, maybe it's just me. I call it runny glue.
It's different from sticky glue, which is what the glue stick is, right? So we use runny glue for things that are not paper.
13 years together and she still makes fun of me.
I'm not making fun, it's funny.
It's funny.
She also calls tape sticky tape. And every time you say it, I say, show me the other kind of tape. What other kind of tape is there other than sticky tape? We've had this conversation before. I'm sorry if you've been watching us a lot because you'd be like, oh, here they go again. Oh, Gemma's mom's going to come on and say, sticky tape is the opposite of masking tape. I know it. I see you coming. All right. So, yes, we just put glue on a plate with a Q-tip. And then tomorrow, we're going to demonstrate for them how you have to put a dot of glue on. There are lots of different options for decorating their names. Here are three.
Cheerios. So they're really light. They'll stick with running glue.
Lightweight.
Lightweight.
Small.
Stick with the running glue.
Cheerios work really well. If you can't do food.
There's other options. We have these are called pearly beads.
There's little melty beads.
You know the ones you...
Melty beads!
Melty beads.
They're not like pony beads, which don't melt very well. The little perler beads work really well, but they're tiny.
And then there's
sequins. You could use like googly eyes or little pom-poms.
Googly eyes, definitely you need to use this kind of glue. And you need quite a lot, because those googly eyes, they seem to stick and then they fall off again.
I feel like well, here we go. So you just have to demonstrate for them. I'm not doing this. Maybe I'll hold it.
We have it set up. We need a cameraman. Who's wants to be a cameraman?
Okay. You have to demonstrate how they put a dot of this white running glue.
I like to do it with
and then they have to put their object on the letter. And you just give them the opportunity to practice using the running glue.
Everyone's making fun of me now, isn't
Nobody's making fun of you. I tell you what, everybody always sticks up for you.
Oh,
they
guys.
do. And like the other day when I posted a picture of all the measuring cups, half the people were like, Gemma's right, you have too many measuring cups.
And they were all in different places.
Now, I would either use Cheerios or sequins.
I was just an example.
She's just showing you an example, but just pick one so it looks nice. And then, not that this doesn't look nice.
It looks lovely, thank you.
And then what we do is after everything is dry, so like next week, we will staple.
We hope. It depends on how much glue goes
That's
on.
true. We only put little Q-tips though. Yeah. We will staple all of their names together, and then they have these different, 3 different ways that they've decorated, painted, and colored their names to take home. So again, we're just practicing using the art supplies.
It's not about the result.
Which is why we just stick with something simple, and so it's very predictable for them too. Like, oh, I know what we do here. We're going to do our names again.
And also, if they're having trouble with letters, any kind of exposure you have to their name with their letters,
a lot of names.
You have to do this. This is the best way to do it. It's in front of them. They can see it. Perfect.
So anyway, I will upload. Thank you. I will upload these. You can just type your kids' names in, and you can type what you want up here. I can color my name, and you can print them for your own class. Like I said, give me a couple of minutes to do it. Because I didn't do it before we went live. And this is a really good, easy way to practice. You could do it with crayons. You could do it with poster paint, anything you just need to practice using the material, this is a quick and easy way to do it. So,
Yeah, that's all. That's it from our glamorous lives.
it's not complicated.
But sometimes you have to remind yourself that although we find it easy, they don't. So sometimes you have to go back to the basics and think, okay, how you have to break it down. And they're young, so you have to. That's what our job is.
The biggest mistake you can make at the beginning of the year is to assume that your kids know how to do something. Everything has to be explicitly taught, especially in preschool. Step by step. Practice, model, practice, 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 model, practice.
They need help with everything. That's right.
September is exhausting.
September's tiring. When we get to about beginning of November, you'll be in this.
Then you're like in cruise control, like, hey,
Yeah.
I just
Everyone
figured
knows
out.
how to do this. Let's get the glue sticks out. Everyone's good. Everyone knows how to do this.
Yeah, just hands, we did it.
Your
So,
group eats everything.
oh,
Sorry.
she's got twos.
Twos.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Maybe I wouldn't use white glue with twos.
Yeah, maybe not.
No, but you can use watercolors. They're non-toxic.
But then, I mean, if you mean they eat the supplies or they eat the
Oh, yeah, I probably wouldn't do the white glue activity with 2-year-olds. I'd
Maybe
stick
not.
with pre-K. We might not even do it with our 3s because we only have them 2 days. It might
Yeah,
just be
we'll see.
watercolor and markers. Anyway. That's all from us. Have fun playing and learning with your kids, and we'll see you
next time.
next time.
Bye.